as small as a seed.
So go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Would you read the New King James?
But are you bound to a wife? Do not seek to be loosed. Are you loosed from a wife? Do not seek a wife. But even if you do marry, you have not sinned. And if a virgin marries, she has not sinned. Nevertheless, such will have trouble in the flesh, but I would spare you.
The clear understanding of this is that the idea of marriage is tied up in this statement, no matter how broad you make it. And it's basically saying, are you bound to a wife? Do not seek to be loosed. All right, so therefore, if I am a married man, I should not seek divorce. That's simple. But are you loosed from a wife? Right, that is, has she died or are you divorced? Because the word is generic. Right? Do not seek to be married. He's not here judging whether divorce is right or wrong. If you are bound in a marriage relationship with a woman, do not seek to be released either through death or divorce, because they're the only two ways you can be released. Right? Are you released from a woman, or are you no longer bound to a woman? Right? Are you loosed from a wife? Do not seek to be married. So the existential reality is, he's saying, okay, if what shouldn't have happened has happened, don't try to get married again. But if you do marry, you've not sinned. Basically, Paul was a person who was very busy, and he knew that marriage was a lot of hard work, and he just didn't want to do it. He said, because you will have much trouble in the flesh. You know, it's a challenging way of life. Now, here is an attitude to marriage and relationship where let's say the obsession that our culture have, or somehow or other, you've got to get married, you've got to get married, you've got to get married, Paul's free from that. He's saying, well, okay, marriage is fine, but so is not married. And the interesting thing is, the married life is no easier than the single life. Both ways of life are not easy. The thing is this, is that look at the divorce rate in today's society.
Yeah.
As a social phenomenon, is the married state in our society statistically better than the single state?
Is to say, okay, if you do decide to get married, almost do not be yoked if you're a believer with an unbeliever, because if you're going to be yoked to, if you're going to be bound to a person for the whole of your life, you need to actually be pulling in the same direction. So in 2 Corinthians chapter 6, it says, do not be yoked together with an unbeliever, for what do righteous and wicked people have in common? So again, if you do make that choice to marry someone who shares the same pull in life, because it's the pull in life which is life. If one person is moving or has a worldview in this particular way, and they marry, you get someone who marries someone who is so different in their culture to they are, they're just always butting heads, and you're yoked to this person and it's just not working because you are so different. You might have been, you might have had great sexual attraction for that person, you might have thought she was beautiful, but are you pulling in the same direction for the rest of your life when all of that fluff and bubble disappears? God loves them as much as he loves us. So if I am going to be married to an unbeliever, right, we're calling them an unbeliever, but in value sense, God loves us equally. He shows no partiality. His great concern for you is that you don't marry, if you don't believe in God, you don't marry a Christian, because it will not be a pleasant life. Because the problem with a Christian, they live for God. So it's a protection, not just for the Christian, but for the non-Christian, that they don't have somebody, they don't marry somebody who puts God first in their life, because it will wreck them, cause all sorts of strife. So it's a protection for them just as much as the Christian.